Hello, hello, hello. It's been a while since I've been live with you guys. I've been working hard to get ready for season 3 of the Neurodiverse Relationship Podcast. And we are scheduled to, just if you're curious, that should be launching in sometime in March. So I'm really excited about that. We've already got, gosh, eight or so guests. And it's just going to be a great season. Also, I've been getting ready for the first annual Neurodiverse Love Conference, which is on February 14th and 15th, which is aptly timed, I think. And if you haven't heard about that yet, there are, 15, 20, I didn't even count, um, of the leading world experts that will be presenting workshop presentations as part of that conference. I'm going to be presenting on the 15th with a live Q&A, but we've also got people like Tony Atwood, Grace Myhill, who founded the AANE, Eva Mendez, Stephanie and Dan Holmes. Lots of really good information there. So if you are interested in attending that conference, be sure and check the show notes, which actually I just realized we didn't put it in the description here. So I will make sure that we go back and put the link there in the description. But today, I want to talk to you guys about Valentine's Day. Hi, Amy. I see Amy is waving to me here. And so, Valentine's Day is right around the corner. And I'm going to turn off this ticker here on the bottom. Valentine's Day is right around the corner. And I've got some slides that I want to show you guys here in a minute because I want to really give you the best shot this year at having a better or a good, if it's your first Valentine's Day with your partner, a good year, because Valentine's Day is actually one of the most dreaded holidays for a lot of couples. Now, that doesn't sound right, does it? But because it's the holiday that we're supposed to celebrate our relationship, and but there's just so many expectations that go into Valentine's Day, and each partner oftentimes is really expecting something different from the other. And so it can just actually, it's like big holidays like Christmas, birthdays, Valentine's Day can be just really stressful. And they can be very disappointing too. So I'm going to actually give you guys a little bit of help today on how to get through this one. And I want you to this is a Q&A. So this is not just a, hi, Rianne, good to see you. This is not just a me talking to you. This is not a webinar. This is a Q&A. So I've got folks streaming here, or I'm streaming to YouTube and to my Facebook page and also to my private Facebook group. And so if you're in any of those and you're seeing this live, be sure and say hello. Hi, MD. How are you? So just say hello and ask me your questions. What are your questions? What are your concerns about this upcoming Valentine's Day? So let's talk and let's chat. So while I'm waiting on everybody to show up, though, I'll just go ahead and start this. I want to just give you this slideshow. And so let me see if I can do this here. You know what? Let me do this. No, you know what? I'll just do this. I want you to see the slides more than me. So, Valentine's Day is what we think of it as the day to celebrate love, right? But it can be very complicated. We come to this day with our beliefs about what Valentine's Day is supposed to be about, our relationship, our values, even our wishes. What are we really wanting for Valentine's Day? And we have a personal history of our own with Valentine's Day, and we have a relationship history. Now, some of you may have been married for 20 years, or some of you may be brand new to dating someone new this year, or maybe you're not even in a relationship at all. Amy says she hates feeling the pressure of the holiday, by the way, in the comments. Yeah, it can be really stressful. So that even bringing that pressure, that feeling of pressure, can really actually end up influencing what happens on the day of. MD is saying, I kind of like it, but my husband doesn't really get into the holidays. And, that's actually something that I hear regularly with mixed neurotype couples. And what I mean by mixed neurotype is that means that you have different neurological types. So you have different ways of going about your emotions, how you process and experience emotions. You have different ways about doing tasks and the way your brain works and the way you interact in your relationships and socially. So it can be, depending on what you're bringing to it, it can really cause complications. So I put this line here because this is baggage, right? We think of our baggage as bad stuff that's happened to us in the past, and we're bringing our baggage. But, okay, it's some baggage, whatever. But in reality, this baggage that we're bringing to our relationships can really cause a lot of heartbreak on Valentine's Day, because sometimes we're bringing those memories of previous Valentine's Days where we were really disappointed, and so we're bringing that with us, and we're expecting disappointment this year as well. But communication is something that doesn't happen a lot of times around Valentine's Day. Communicating exactly what we're expecting and what we're hoping for and what we're wishing for is something that a lot of people struggle with in their relationships. And so communication, if you've been following me at all for any length of time, you'll know that this is a huge part of what I teach and what I do. And so if you're interested in learning more about that, I've got the link up here for my communication program. So the thing is, for holidays like Valentine's Day, communication is something that can really interfere with a couple's ability to have a good holiday, because sometimes people don't know how to communicate what they want, or when they do, especially in neurodiverse relationships, the message is just not getting interpreted between partners. So it can be really something that causes issues. And so how we actually go about expressing our preferences, are you making a direct request? Are you kind of making passive comments? Or are you actually criticizing? Are you saying, you didn't do this last year? Or why don't you ever? Statements like, why don't you ever? Or you never bring me flowers, or you never care about Valentine's Day. These types of interactions will very much influence how your partner responds to you, how receptive, when someone comes at us with a you never, it's hard to receive what's being said. And I also want to just I want to mention this direct requests here. In neurodiverse relationships, it's really important that our wishes be expressed very specifically and very bluntly, because I hear all the time from my neurodivergent folks, I just want to know what you want. I want to know, just tell me, just say it. And then I also hear from my neurotypical partners that it doesn't seem to count if I have to tell my partner what I want. Why don't they know me? Why don't they just know me? And, yeah, it would be great for somebody to just know who we are. And sometimes we think, well, I've told them over and over again, and maybe you have. But that doesn't always mean that our partner has understood us, and that no matter what we've told them in the past, they may not really know to bring that information forward into now for this Valentine's Day. So whatever it is that you are hoping for, that you're wishing for this Valentine's Day, get clear about it yourself first. No, stop and actually think about, what do I want? What do I wish for? And then express that directly to your partner. Now, your partner at that point is not obligated to honor your request. And so it's important for us to make our requests and then ask our partner, is this something you think that can you do this? Is this something you think you can do? And if our partner is like, I don't know that I can, that's not something I'm comfortable with, that's not something that fits me, it's important not to take that personally. Our requests are not always going to be honored, but that's because there are two human beings, two full, complete human beings in a relationship, and both human beings have valid wishes and preferences and needs, and sometimes those are really different. So we may not get everything, we're not. You all know we're not going to get all that we wish for, but we also it's important to be able to prioritize, well, how important is this request to me? And how much is it impacting my life? And I actually have in that communication program that I mentioned, I have a scale that I teach people to help you identify what's the really important stuff and what are things that are close to deal breakers in the requests that I have, and what are the things that, it would be great, it's like bonus, but I can do without it. Anybody, is this resonating with any of you guys? I see that there's several people here watching, so if it's making sense, give me a thumbs up. Tell me, are you usually when I teach this stuff, people are like, oh, I can really see myself in this. So talk to me. Let me go on to another slide. So, is this you? Or are you just kind of throwing it out to the universe, what you're hoping will happen this Valentine's Day, but not specifically? Are you more passive? Are you more passive about what you want? Because that's really not useful in neurodiverse relationships. I also want to really point out that now, on a holiday like Valentine's Day or a birthday or Christmas, it's not the time to really get into relationship challenges. That's not the right timing. And sometimes we're so tempted. I've been guilty of it before in the past, because it's when we feel it the most. It's when we experience the most distress about our relationship, because we have those expectations, because we're anticipating disappointment, or we're remembering our relationship history and the painful things that have happened. So it's important that we don't bring those things to the holiday. That's a guarantee. If you do, it's pretty much a guarantee that you won't have a pleasant or fulfilling holiday, because that's just going to bring up whatever's already there, the challenges and the struggle, the communication differences. It's going to just bring it up, and then your holiday is going to not go well. So, it's important to stop and think sometimes, what does it actually mean? When we think about the meanings that we have, that each of you have about what you say and what you do, even your past experiences, it can be helpful sometimes to stop and think, do I have a different meaning about Valentine's Day than my partner? What does it mean to him or to her? And also some of the words that have been said, the communication that has been there, how your partner has behaved or does behave, the actions. Are those meanings the same for you as they are for your partner? And then it's really important to recognize and to understand that those differences don't mean that somebody's wrong. Nobody's right or wrong in how you think or feel or perceive or what your preferences are for Valentine's Day. And so just for an example, well, before I go into that, sometimes this is what it's like for couples, especially neurodiverse couples that have been together a while. Those meanings have gotten so confused that the person that you're with doesn't really seem like somebody that you first started dating in the beginning. And, we just kind of think, what is wrong with you? So, this is a slide about the differences in what we bring to it. Some people are bringing this set of expectations where another person is bringing these sets of expectations. So different. And we think about baggage as those things that make us, the really negative experiences that we've had in past relationships. But truthfully, baggage is everything that makes us who we are, even the positive stuff. And so, it's our values, it's our beliefs, the culture that we come from. What has society taught us about Valentine's Day? What are our values about partnerships and love even? What are our wishes and our preferences? Are we extroverts or introverts? Just all of it, our emotional IQ, all of this is part of our baggage. It's in our backpack. What we bring to our relationships is what, and I have this analogy, it's this backpack that we go through life. It's like a suitcase we're dragging along, or it's a backpack, and everything that is in that backpack makes us who we are, and it influences how we show up, and it influences things like Valentine's Day. Are you guys talking to me? I don't see comments. I don't want to just talk at you. Talk to me, you guys. So for Valentine's Day, what are we bringing about our expectations? Our expectations about gifts. Do we want a small gift? Do we want a large gift? Do we like chocolate? Do we expect chocolate or flowers? Or are we someone who thinks that these things are just unnecessary? And why Valentine's Day? A lot of my neurodivergent folks have said to me that they don't really understand the point of holidays like Valentine's Day, because to them, they think it's important to express love and care every day of the year. And that one day, just trying to highlight one day, doesn't make sense to them. The nostalgia of it oftentimes is not there for some of my neurodivergent folks. Whereas for my neurotypical folks, it's more about the taking a moment, and because every day sometimes we're just getting through life. We're going to work, we're managing the kids if we've got kids. And so it's about taking that one day to say, hey, you know what? This is what I love about you. Let's reconnect on this one day. But it's a difference. So Amy is saying, I feel like highlighting one day is weird as well. Yeah, that's a really common belief and thought and value for a lot of people. But that doesn't make either partner right or wrong about what their preferences are and what their beliefs are. What kind of expectations are there that do you have about quality time, about sex? Are you gonna hook up this year? Are you gonna have a date night? And the thing is, if your sex life, this goes back to the relationship challenges. If your sex life's really been struggling, and you're hoping that Valentine's Day is gonna give you a chance to reconnect, chances are your expectation may be setting you up for disappointment, because if there's already a struggle there, and there has been, it's not likely that this one day is going to reconnect you. It's something that if you're hoping for that, then you need to let your partner know that that's something that you'd like. Maybe we can reconnect, and maybe we can have, maybe we can hop in the bedroom at the end of the day, just to give your partner a heads up that it's something you really be interested in. I've got someone on YouTube saying intentional attention means a lot. So that speaks to the Valentine's Day being a holiday where we intentionally attend to our relationship. And so this person is saying, it is important to me that occasionally we really are intentional, both of us, in expressing how we feel and paying attention, intentionally, versus just going about life every day and just assuming that, yes, I love you. Yes, you love me. Yes, we're doing this thing called life together. And it just being kind of a something that you just know. It is important for some people to have that time to stop and go, hey, this is a moment in time. This is a day of the year that we are going to intentionally say, you're important to me. She said, the person, I say she, I don't know if this is a she or he, on YouTube says it exactly. So if you aren't someone who really values that intentionality, it's important. Be curious, be a detective about your partner. Is this something that's important to your partner? And if it is, even if it's not that big of a value for you, is it going to be hard for you to do that because it's something for your partner? If it's not something that that you're really opposed to doing, then this is a day of the year that you can give that to your partner, even if it doesn't make sense to you. That's part of what relationships are. We sometimes do things for our partner, honor those requests, even when they don't really make sense to us. And as long as we're not harming ourselves, that's the key. You don't want to do something to your own destruction. You don't want to harm yourself in some way in order to honor a partner request. But if it doesn't harm you, then consider honoring those requests. I've got somebody else on YouTube. Kaylee is saying, my boyfriend is neurodiverse and he automatically believes that I don't want much because I don't ask him for this or that. But I've mentioned things that I would like, this or that, but he doesn't ask. So I hear you say, I've mentioned things. And so he's believing that you don't really want much because you don't ask. That's that really passive communication that is not very effective in a neurodiverse relationship. And so passively mentioning, okay, yeah, Kaylee says, I don't want to look too needy or materialistic because I usually get my own things with my own money. And he knows this too. What you just said is, I don't want to look too needy or materialistic. This is a belief that you're bringing to your relationship. And it's actually a really common belief that I hear from a lot of neurotypical partners. And it's important to stop and think about, where does that come from? Where does your belief that having wishes or requests from your partner means you are needy? Because needy is a very negative concept. Even it's a negative term. Materialistic is a negative term. So what you want to stop and think, where did I get the idea? Is this coming from my parents, my culture, my friends? Where did I get the idea? Where did that message first come to me that enjoying when my partner gives me things and enjoying when I get things from my partner is something I like? Where did that come from? Because it's not needy. It's not materialistic to enjoy being, if your love language is gifts, and so it may or may not be, but let's just say it is. If your love language is gifts and you just enjoy giving things to people, to your boyfriend, and you enjoy receiving it, that's not needy and that's not materialistic. That's just a way that you enjoy feeling loved, in a way that you enjoy giving love. And so Kaylee's saying, I'm not sure how I should approach him with this without being demanding. See, there's that word again. You have a mindset that making requests of your partner is being demanding, it's being needy. And so I'd say start with you. Before you approach him with it, start with you and ask yourself, why do I even feel this way? Because making requests of your partner, it's a difference between owning, this is what I love, this is what I enjoy, versus you're not doing this. Because then we put the responsibility on them. And we say, you're not doing this. And why don't you ever, there's a big difference between approaching that way and going, I really love it. I would love it if you would give me flowers or chocolates, or if you would just take the time to, just buy me something special, because it's not about the money, but it's just about the gesture and the intentionality of it. And I love it when you do that. Then you're taking on that. It's about me. It's about me and what I love and what I enjoy, but not about something you're doing wrong. And it's okay, Kaylee, It's okay to enjoy getting things from your partner. It's not needy. It's not materialistic. Being needy and materialistic is when you rely on someone to meet, to do what you can do for yourself. And you're saying, I do buy my own things. So you already are independent. That doesn't, being independent and self-sufficient doesn't mean that you can't still enjoy when somebody else does something for you and gives you something. So think about your own, what you're bringing to that. And I know that a lot of other people who are going to watch this video will be able to relate to you. I know, because I hear it all the time. I've been there myself. So you've just helped a lot of people by asking this question. Who else can relate to any of this and has questions? So, I talked about Kaylee. She's out talking about being materialistic, but just even expressing needs for connection, or how do you actually express love, and how do you receive it? How do you and your partner both express and receive love? The whole love languages, Gary Chapman's Love Languages book goes into extensive detail about how we receive and express love. And so that's an important conversation to have. You can take the quiz on the Love Languages website. So really, as we just went through with Kaylee, you want to stop and think, what am I bringing in my backpack? What's in my backpack? Because a lot of times we just think about what our partner's not doing, and so it's, stop and think about, what is it that I'm expecting, and why is that? Why is it that I'm expecting these things or hoping for it? And not that you should take those things out of your backpack, but it just may be that your partner has something really different in his or her backpack. And do you know what's in there? Do you know what's in yours? Do you know what's in your partner's backpack? Okay, so let's just I'm going to just break this down even more for you here. So for what you're bringing, that it's your hopes, your wishes, your desires, fears, background, everything. How are you bringing it? Are you actually being passive, like I said, critical, or do you not even bring it at all? Do you not request? Do you not make any requests? Do you just go into the holiday hoping for the best? Because that's not likely going to get you a fulfilling holiday. And do you clarify with your partner, what do you actually mean when you say this? Because neurodivergent couples have really different definitions of things sometimes. So you want to clarify. And all of this, by the way, is in my communication program. Go check it out, you guys. You want to ask clarifying statements. Tell me, whoops, sorry, I'm clogging up the slide here. Tell me what you meant by that. Tell me more. Be curious about your partner. And then also pay attention to the narrative that you have about your partner, about the past, even the narrative you have about yourself. Just like Kaylee mentioned, she's got these ideas that she's could be needy if she expresses requests. All right, so let me stop there. Who else is here? And what other questions do you have? So far, we've had some good ones. While I'm waiting on you guys, I just want to say again that I cannot stress enough how important it is in neurodiverse relationships to be very clear with each other. And whether you are the neurotypical partner or you are the neurodivergent partner, it's so important to be clear and just communicate what you're wanting, what you're hoping for. Do not sit back and wait to see if your partner's going to get it right this year, if they're going to disappoint you once again. And I also want to acknowledge that some of you are in relationships where your partner's not going to be willing. Your partner's not going to be even willing to hear your requests. And because a lot of you are in relationships that are struggling, and just the dread of the holiday alone is enough to shut some partners down from having a conversation. A lot of you are struggling with how to communicate with each other, and your conversations regularly end up in conflict and arguing. And So you don't really even know how to have that conversation. And so it's good. It may be, I know that for some of you, it may just be very difficult. And so I want you to, again, it's so important not to bring up relationship history and to keep it as simple as possible. Even your expectations and your hopes for that day. Some of you are probably thinking, you know what, I just don't even expect much from Valentine's Day because it's just been so disappointing. And that's painful. And so it's, if you're in that situation where you just can't even talk to your partner about it, I want you to really figure out a way to honor yourself, because Valentine's Day is traditionally about our partner relationships. But I want to ask those of you who are listening, how in love with yourself are you? And in what ways are you communicating to yourself how much you love yourself? In what ways are you validating yourself, and are you celebrating you? Because I'll also say in relationships, it is hard to love someone who struggles to love themselves. And if you are struggling to value yourself and love yourself, then oftentimes you're going to put that onto your husband or your wife or your partner, your dating partner, to give you that love that you don't have for yourself. You will look to your partner to give that to you. And that's a responsibility that no other human being can really ever take on. No one else can really ever fulfill our own need to feel self-worth and value. And I promise you, if you struggle with this, that the more you work on loving you, the more content you're going to be with your partner. It's may sound strange to some of you, but the more you really are good with you and you're confident with you and you're happy with you, then the less you will need your partner to validate you and to provide that with you. So that doesn't mean that you should just take on Valentine's Day for yourself and not even want to connect with your partner. No, not at all. But partner relationships are just that. They're our partner. Our partner's not supposed to supply us with our value. That comes from us. All right. I'm not seeing any other questions. So wait, here comes Rianne. Okay. Rianne said, I do have a question, and she's coming from my Facebook page or group. I can't tell which. Rianne says, I have a question, but it's related to myself rather than the relationship side of things. Trying to be honest with myself with the pre-assessment questionnaire for autism assessment. As I know, relationships and friendships are asked on there as well. Can I PM you for more details later on? Rianne, it's probably best if you send me a email, and I'm gonna post my email address here, and that's just gethelp@jodicarlton.com. I know that you have had an assessment pending. You've brought that up. You've let us know. And so it sounds like you're really struggling with how to answer some of those questions and being honest with yourself, because yes, it is very important. I will just go ahead and say that if you are someone who is going to be assessed in any way, wherever that is, whether it's through my assessment process or externally like Rihanna's doing, the more honest you can be on those things. It's sometimes hard to be honest about ourselves though, because those realities are painful, and it's not something we want to think about. But the more honest you are, the more the provider is going to be able to give you guidance and direction and feedback for what to do, what to do with that. Rianne says, that's why I'm struggling. Yeah, it's hard to be honest with ourselves about those things sometimes. And that goes back to what I'm saying here too about what are you bringing? All of us, what are you bringing? What kind of expectations, what kind of challenges are we all bringing with our own worthiness and loving ourselves? So all of you, whether you're in a fulfilling relationship or not, I want to challenge all of you to write a love letter to yourself this Valentine's Day. Sit down and write a love letter to yourself. Like, really love, what do you love about yourself? Your brain, your emotions, your capacities. What's your favorite physical feature? Don't get into the things you don't love about yourself. This is a love letter. This is a passionate, I think you're an amazing person love letter. And if that's something that you aren't sure you can do, then you are bringing some difficulties with self-worth to Valentine's Day, and that's going to make it harder for your partner to love you. So Amy says she loves that. The love letter. So I'm going to end this there for you guys. If you, I just told Rianne to reach out to me. You can. I do private consultations, so you can reach out to my team if you're interested in a private consultation and assessments and coaching and all that stuff. But then, like I said, I also have the communication program if you're needing more help with your relationship. So Rianne, yes, you're saying, the love letter idea be a good thing. Yes, I really recommend that you do this because I know you have struggled a lot with feeling inadequate and feeling, I don't know if that's the right word, but feeling unworthy and unvalued by the people in your world. So sit down and write that love letter to yourself, all of you. All right. Happy Valentine's Day, everybody. Again, come to that Neurodiverse Love Conference next week. It's going to be a good one. I hope to see you guys there. And you can watch the replays, by the way. They're pre-recorded, and you can watch the replays for, I think, 3 months. So it's a good conference. All right. I will be back here on live Q&A, I think, in 2 weeks. Sometimes I get busy and I can't get on here, and I apologize. But I'm going to try to do them as try to do them a couple times a month until the podcast starts. And then I don't know, I'll have to see what kind of time I have, but it's always good talking to you. All right. Thanks, Rianne. See you guys later.